Hey everyone, welcome to this podcast on IT. I specialize in teaching women Azure in IT, and I have a strong passion of getting women into IT because they bring about diversity, they bring about a different culture, but more importantly, they bring about a mix. They bring a lot of things to the table that will help organizations grow and expand. The issue that I've faced, there have been not enough women in IT, and those that have moved into Azure have struggled to find work. Now, I decided, well, what can I do to change this? How can I get more women into IT? And I decided, okay, well, I'm going to run a little free course called Azure Women in IT to see how it goes. And I thought, well, if I can get 5 people on the course, that'll be fantastic. Even 2 would be great. But I was very amazed that the first Azure IT course that I ran, we had 25 women. And none of them knew how to use Azure. They heard the term Azure from Microsoft, and they've heard about AWS from Amazon, but none of them knew how to use Azure. And a lot of the women that I've trained, some of them have been IT graduates, some of them have been single moms, some of them have decided to change their careers because they were made redundant due to the pandemic. And they had to do something about getting into the workforce. So they decided to do IT. So I ran my first Azure Women's class to give new ladies a taste of Azure, but more importantly, to give them the real world hands-on experience, because also found that a lot of people will go for an interview and they'll pass the first stage of the interview. And then on the second interview, a lot of companies would give them a practical exercise to do, like, okay, here's Azure, create a user account or deploy a virtual machine. And a lot of them failed. And we're talking about men and women, that they failed to do that. And that lack of confidence came through. So hence the reason I started like I said earlier on, the Azure Women's in IT is to give women the real world hands-on experience. So when they go and apply for a job, they already have some hands-on skills, and that'll come across in the interview. And like I say, all the ladies that I've trained, initially I started the first class in Australia, delivered live over Zoom. We signed in with all of the ladies. They all created their Azure accounts step by step. We logged into Azure from the ground up, and we learned how to deploy virtual machines, how to create users in Active Directory, how to deploy a Windows server and how to create that server, how to use containers, how to do backups, how to do your basic networking, how to create VNets and VNet pairing, all the standard things that you needed to do, compliance and security, all at a fundamental level, because the fundamentals are so important, because that is what allows you to move to the next level in your career. And the ladies did the 8-week course, which was 1 hour a week in the evenings. And I am happy to say that I've probably trained about 150 ladies so far. And all of those ladies have successfully not only passed their Azure AZ900 exam the first go, but they have found work in IT companies, supporting IT environments, but more importantly, supporting Azure. And for me, that's been absolutely phenomenal, because it's changed their lives, and it's given them the confidence to grow. Some of the ladies have really branched out and done security. Some of them have gone into development. And like I say, when I started, I was just hoping for five or six people. But like I say, the first course was 25. And then the word spread. Then the next course was another 25 or 30 ladies. Then the next course was another, 10 or 15 ladies. And it's just growing. I mean, at the moment, in April, I have another Azure Women's IT course running. And I have around 45 women booked already to do that course. And then, of course, I have short courses that I run now and again on how to do stuff. I've developed a short course on how to deploy an Azure virtual desktop for ladies. And that is just a 1-hour course. And already that course is full. And like I say, the whole idea about this is to empower women in IT, give them the tools and the knowledge to successfully get a role in IT and keep the role, but more importantly, to grow. Because, being real in the real world, IT has been dominated by men. And a lot of the women that I've come across in IT have either been developers or database administrators. Very few have actually been network engineers or infrastructure solutions architects or doing the day-to-day support of IT systems. So I'm wanting to change that. And I have a strong passion, like I say, of working with women and getting them to change, getting industries to realize that, women bring value to the industry, getting other men to understand that having a woman in your team is not a disadvantage, it's an advantage. They can help you grow. They also can help you see things in a different way. But more importantly, it brings about that diversity, which is what's needed in the industry. And the industry is changing, whether we like it or not. And in order for companies to survive and grow, we have to be diverse in our selection of our, workforce. And there are so many skilled ladies that have so much talent. The issue that they face, it's a hurdle for them to get from A to B because nobody wants to give them the chance. And all they need is a chance to prove themselves. They need to be able to go into a company and stand shoulder to shoulder with those men that have been working already in the industry. And again, I'm really excited to say that the ladies that I've taught that are working in the industry are not only standing shoulder to shoulder with other men in their team, but in some cases, those men are actually coming to them and asking them for advice. How do I do this? Why are we doing it this way? And that's what I want to see. And that's what makes all this worth it at the end of the day. And like I say, the more women I can get into IT, the better for me, the better for the industry. But more importantly, like I say, you as a woman, it gives you a skill set that you can always fall back on, because you may decide, okay, I've worked at ABC company and now I want to move to another company. Not only will you have the certification and the knowledge to move, you'll also be able to stand and support yourself or support your family for whatever reason that may be. But again, like I say, the IT is changing. We are moving into an era now where we are going to have a hybrid environment. And what I mean by hybrid environments is that we're going to be a mixture of on-prem solutions and the cloud. It's not going to be purely cloud. We're going to have both people still have to support those on-premise infrastructure and of course the cloud. We're going to have engineers that are going to have to be multi-cloud certified. In other words, they need to have not only Microsoft Azure certifications, but AWS and maybe Google. In some cases, if you working in Asia Pacific, you'll come across Alibaba Cloud, which is China's biggest cloud provider. But at the end of the day, like I say, if you can drive Azure at a fundamental level, learning AWS and Google and Alibaba Cloud is not such a big leap into becoming multi-cloud certified. But more importantly, Azure offers such a wide range of certifications. I mean, you may decide you start off at a fundamental level, which is what's needed, the AZ900. And then you can either grow and become an administrator, you can become a solutions architect, you can become a developer, you can go down the database track and become a database specialist. You can even become a AI or artificial intelligence specialist at the end of the day. At the end of the day, Azure is so big, and the support that Microsoft have given me, especially Microsoft New Zealand. You know, I'd like to say a very special thank you to Vanessa from Microsoft New Zealand, and Elizabeth, who's my MVP program manager. She's amazing, as well as so many other people that have supported this initiative that I've been doing. And like I say, it's just exploded. I've had people in the United States, ladies that have done training who've never done any IT training at all. If you showed them a computer and said, show me what a CPU is, they wouldn't even know. But yet, if you logged onto an Azure portal and said, create a virtual machine and deploy it, not only can they do that, but they'll be able to explain to you the fundamentals behind the deployment, the fundamental architecture, what makes a virtual machine go. And like I say, I've had ladies all over the world, like I say, Australia, Canada, you know, Mexico, the United States, UK, and they're all doing so well, and they've just grown. Some of them have actually gone into supervisory roles over time. But the most important thing at the end of the day is giving ladies a chance to get from A to B. And there are so many other MVPs out there that are willing to help. There are so many companies out there willing to give women a chance to get into the industry, to prove, hey, I can do this. I mean, for example, some of the amazing ladies that have some fundamental IT skills are CEOs and managing directors of some very big organizations. I mean, for example, Vanessa Sorensen is the managing director of Microsoft, and she's a lady. So this goes to show you that women can grow to amazing heights. And, you know, the ceiling is not here. It's what you make it. It's about giving you confidence, you know, giving you the abilities to get from A to B, and realizing, hey, you know, I can get there. I may not get there straight away, but I can get there. And more importantly, at the end of the day, you are in control of where you want to go. So again, like I say, when I started working in IT, it was all men. There were very few women. I mean, and some of the women I did work with were amazing, but they were database specialists. I mean, I had one or two women that were developers, and that was it. They knew nothing about networking. They knew nothing about backups. They knew nothing about deployment. And that's lacking tremendously in the IT industry. I mean, a lot of ladies are going into security, which is fantastic. You know, it's a great field to go down. But again, like I say, at the end of the day, when you get a job in a company, you have to be multi-talented and have a wide range of skills, not just saying, okay, well, I'm going to do big database and that's it. Where with the Azure training that I've developed is a mixture. It's not the AZ900 curriculum in a sense. It's a mix of AZ900. It's a mix of, which is the fundamentals. It's a mix of AZ104, which is the administration course. And it's a mix of AZ500, which is the security course. And it gives you the tools not only to successfully do the training, but to go down the road and actually write the exam and pass the fundamental exam successfully. And once you realize that you can do this, it's not impossible, your confidence grows. And that stands out. When you go for an interview, that stands out as well. And I've been very fortunate enough to partner with a wide range of amazing people that have come on and given talks to encourage ladies. I've worked with Tegan Bartos. She's amazing in helping ladies set up their CVs, giving them confidence, how to prepare them for interviews. I've worked with Lars Klint at a cloud guru / Pluralsight. You know, he's encouraged the ladies. They are an amazing group of people to work with. I've worked with Kevin Alaprano. He does also fundamental help desk training, as well as a few other companies. Like in Australia, I've done some stuff with an Australian crowd called Tech Skills, who specialize in helping IT graduates get into the industry, whether you are men or women. But like I say, at the end of the day, my goal is to try and get more ladies into the IT industry, to give them that foundational start so that they can at least get a job and they can grow. But more importantly, once they have that foundational knowledge and certification, they can decide for themselves, okay, I don't want to do networking. I want to become an AI specialist. Then they can move on and become an AI specialist. Some might say, hey, I want to be a network specialist or a security specialist or a database specialist. Hey, in fact, I want to go and do development. And they can use the Azure platform. And Azure is the second largest cloud provider. In my opinion, it's going to overtake Amazon because the tools and the development going into Azure is phenomenal. Azure has been designed so that even a new person who's never used the cloud can get up and running literally within an hour using Azure under the right guidance and training. Azure is very flexible. And to be honest with you, all companies today run Microsoft Office. And a lot of companies are moving to Azure because they already have Microsoft. So it makes sense for them to move to Microsoft. A lot of companies have on-prem servers, and a lot of those on-prem servers would be 2008 to 2022 Windows servers. So a lot of people, again, will move to Azure because they already have the core Microsoft infrastructure in place already. I mean, some of them move both to Azure and to AWS. In some cases, you may have some of them in Google Cloud as well. It all depends on the company's organization. But like I say, at the end of the day, as you move through your IT career, the goal is to give you the skills to drive these technologies and grow with them so that you can bring something to the table, so that when you as a lady get a job in IT, the people that you work with will immediately see, wow, this lady, this woman knows her stuff. She doesn't have qualifications coming out of her ears. She doesn't have these high-end skills, but she has a solid foundation. And straight away, you'll earn the respect of those men around you because, you know, sometimes men are looking for you to fail. See, told you she's going to fail. Where some men are, hey, let me help you. Let me lift you up. Let's move together as a team. And that's my goal, is to try to give you the tools to move into IT. So it doesn't matter what background you come from. Some of the ladies, like I said, that I've trained, you know, all they've done is worked in a warehouse packing shelves. Some of them have worked in supermarkets. You know, some of them have worked in, you know, some of them have actually been cleaners. And they've made a choice to change their career because people want to move into IT. And moving into IT is not as easy as it sounds because there's a cost involved. And to go and do an IT course will cost you money to do a proper course. And if you're in a low-paid job and you're a mum or you're just finished university, how do you move into IT, or how do you get that job if you don't have enough money to pay for a course? So a lot of my training that I do is all free because, again, people can't afford to go and do training. And again, you know, I want to help people because I've been in that same boat as well. When I started out in IT, I had no skills. I had no qualifications. I mean, there was no training centers. There was no one to help me. I learned the hard way, you know, reading books, you know, cleaning computers and laying network cables and, you know, tidying up, and slowly grew there and got certified myself over time, and then became a Microsoft trainer. And then I've been fortunate enough to work at some very, very well-known companies, as well as some small companies as well. I mean, I've done a lot of migrations with companies I've moved them into the cloud. When the cloud was still pretty new, some of the companies were very hesitant. I was also one of the first people to push people to Office 365 in our country, because, like I say, when certain things are done a certain way, people don't want to move because they're frightened about moving infrastructure, and they're frightened about who's going to look after that infrastructure. More importantly, they're frightened about change. So that's the same in women in IT. You know, companies need to adapt, they need to change, they need to realize we have such a talented pool of ladies out there. All they need is the chance to prove, hey, I can do this. Give me the chance and I can show you I can move from A to B. And the training, the way I've designed it, is very hands-on. There is theory behind it as well, because you need to know what you're doing. But I train in a way that you get your hands dirty. And this is how you would actually do it if you got a job at a company. Because you can sit in a classroom and you can sit at home and you can do a lab, and that's great. But how do you actually do it in the real world? How do you deploy something? How do you read an error if an error comes across your screen? How do you know when to ask for help? How do you know when to have the confidence to say, I don't know, I've never done this, but hey, I'm willing to try. And like I say, with the Azure course that I've designed and set up, is specifically designed for women. I mean, yes, I do a lot of training for men as well, but I have a strong passion, like I said, to get women into the industry. And again, all of the training that I do is designed to be real world hands-on training, because that's what you will need. And that's what will come across when you go for an interview. Because when someone's interviewing you and they're asking you, hey, I did this in Azure, how would you fix it? They wanting to see what you know. And the answers that you will give them will tell the person that's interviewing you, okay, they've just read this out of a book. Or, hey, no, they've actually done the hands-on. And unfortunately, there's no shortcut to Azure. And when I mean shortcut, you can go and get exam questions and you can study and you can pass the exam. You are now a paper engineer and you will struggle to get a job. And the reason you'll struggle to get the job is because you have no experience and you didn't take the time to grind in the trenches. So you have to get your hands dirty in order to succeed. And this comes across in the interview, and people are wondering, hey, I've got 5 Microsoft qualifications, but I can't get a job, or I'm struggling to get a job. And that's because every time they go for an interview, it's coming across that they don't know really what they're talking about in the real world. Those ladies that I've trained have all got jobs because when they were asked interview questions, if I'm interviewing you, I'm going to interview you on stuff that I know, that I've worked with daily in the industry. And your answers will tell me whether you know something or whether you don't. Also, another key thing is when people are going for an interview, some interview questions are designed to fail. There is no solution to it. The reason people would ask you these questions in an interview is to see if you know, hey, when to ask for help. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people sit there and they start thinking, well, if I can't do this, then I'm useless and I'm no good. I'm not going to get anywhere. And that's not the case. You need to know that you can ask for help and somebody can give you the support that you need. But again, that comes back to your own confidence as well, because you don't know everything. You can't learn everything. I mean, even now, like I said, I've been doing IT for well over 18 years. And believe it or not, my best friend when I need help is Google. Google has some amazing help. If I know somebody, I'll pick up the phone and say, hey, help. How do I do this? I mean, I've had a lot of people call me and say, hey, Ryan, how do you do this? And then I'll say, okay, this is what you need to do to get from A to B. And it's about networking. Again, ladies, I would encourage you to go onto LinkedIn and create a profile and Network with people. There are so many other ladies out there that are in the same boat as you that just need the encouragement to move forward. I mean, like I say, once you have the confidence, you'll be surprised just how far you can go. And if you fail in something, so what? Even if you fail, who cares? You start again and move forward. You know, there's an old saying, you know, why do you fall down? Well, the reason people fall down is so that you can learn to pick yourself up and move forward, but only you can do that. And it does take dedication and it does take time. And those engineers that, or IT professionals that take the time to do hands-on labs after hours, or when they get home or when they have free time, do that lab for 20 minutes or 10 minutes a day. You probably think, well, 10 minutes a day is not a lot, but you add that up over a week, you know, or you know, that's, you know, 6 days, that's 60 minutes. That's an hour's training you've done. You'll be surprised how much you can learn. Again, taking stuff in small chunks, absorbing it and doing it over and over until you understand how it works. Then when you go for an interview, the person that's interviewing you will not only see your confidence, but then they'll say, wow, this lady knows what she's talking about. Again, more importantly, when you go and write your certification and you pass your exam, you're going to get given a certificate from Microsoft saying you're an AZ 900 fundamentals specialist, you've passed that exam. You would know, hey, I'm a real engineer, because if you ask me to deploy a virtual machine, you ask me to create a VNet, you ask me to create a container, you ask me to do a backup, you ask me to recover files, create a blob storage, create file storage, you know, sync up my domain controller on-prem with my Azure Active Directory, create user accounts, recover user accounts. You can do that. And that'll come across in the interview. And you'll be surprised how many engineers I've come across. I'm talking about men engineers that have got a truckload of qualifications, but yet they have zero experience. And they're very good at saying, look at all my qualifications. I've got an MCSC, I'm Azure security, I'm Azure, you know, networking specialist. And when you ask them, well, create a VNet, they don't know how to do it. Well, how did you get your qualification? Or I'm an Azure security specialist. Okay, create a bastion or set up an Azure firewall. They don't know what they're doing. You can see when they're doing stuff that they're taking too long. They're going all over the show. They're clicking here, clicking there. And straight away, that comes across as a paper engineer. And my goal, again, is to try and get rid of that stigma that's there in the industry, is saying, hey, how do we get real engineers into the workforce? And this is how we do it. And unfortunately, like I said earlier on, there is no shortcut. It does take time. It does take effort. But trust me, that effort and time will pay off 1,000-fold. I mean, you may not see it now, but it will pay off. And not only will it allow you to get a job, more importantly, it'll allow you to keep that job. And if you can keep that job, you can grow within the company. You'll earn the respect. And like I say, the ladies that I've taught in Azure are doing absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't be more proud of them that they have grown. And, you know, I get messages from them saying, hey, I've done this. Hey, thank you for this. At the end of the day, they put the hard work in. All I did was guide them and say, this is how you need to do stuff, and mentor them. And then down the road, you will mentor somebody else and you will guide somebody else. More importantly, you'll give the next lady next to you the confidence to do this. And again, anybody can do IT training. Anybody can go and sit an exam. The key takeaway here is, you know, it is hard work. And more importantly, you know, you need to have confidence, and you don't know how much knowledge you have until you put it to the test. And some women think, oh, well, you know, I'm not smart enough. I can't do this. You know, I don't have these skills. I've never used this. I've never used that. At the end of the day, when something is new, it is always daunting and frightening because you've never done it. And more importantly as well, I don't want to look silly if I make a mistake. Trust me, so many people have made mistakes and been silly, including me. Not just once, many, many, many times. Even now in the industry, I still make mistakes, but I know when to ask for help. More importantly, like I say, I want to give you the tool sets and the skills to become a good engineer. And like I say, companies are looking for women to hire in IT, whether you're doing networking, whether you're doing help desk support, whether you want to become an Azure engineer. And the reason I'm going on about Azure, because cloud technologies is the future. And it's going to become a staple requirement that companies have at least one or two cloud certified people in their organization. You may work for an MSP, and that MSP may support multi-cloud customers. So, for example, Ryan could be using Azure, VJ could be using AWS, and Elizabeth could be using Google. So having that skill set will help you transition between those different platforms, and it won't be so hard to learn. And Azure is the best place to start. I mean, like I say, Microsoft are adding products to it all the time. They are enhancing it. They're making it easier for us to use. More importantly, Microsoft, the cost of running Azure is getting cheaper every year for companies. If set up correctly and you have the right engineers in place, your company will thrive. And again, how do you thrive? Is by giving you the real world hands-on experience, giving you real world skills. When we do the Azure Live training, it's done live. So if I make a mistake while we're deploying something live, we have to fix it. It's not a pre-set lab. Okay, step one, page one, paragraph one. No, okay, we're going to deploy this, and let's all deploy it as a group. And if someone in the group makes a mistake, we all get together and say, right, how do we help this person? Let's move forward. And, you know, we all learn and grow together. And again, like I say, getting more women into IT is, for me, it's a passion, because like I say, they bring about diversity. They bring so many cool things to the table, and they just need a chance to say, hey, I can shine. Let me show you my stuff. Let me show you what I can do. And every time they've actually blown the roof off, because they have really excelled in what they've done. So again, like I say, ladies, you have the skills. You don't need to have university degrees. If you've got some, that's great. But if you don't, if you're just a cleaner or a checkout clerk, or you're packing shelves, or you're working in a supermarket and you want to change and you want to move into a different industry, moving into IT is not only a good paying industry, but again, women are in demand. Companies are looking to hire women. Some companies actually have policies in place where a certain amount of their IT hires have to be women, and a certain amount have to be men. So again, working with Cloud and Live will help you to grow and expand on your knowledge. You know, they have such a huge network of professionals in so many fields to help you grow and expand and learn. And again, like I say, you know, I won't say the sky's the limit, because it's not. It's up to you where you want to go and how you want to get there. And like I say, you know, all of the ladies that I've taught, a lot of them have had no IT knowledge, or they've had very basic knowledge, or they've had some knowledge, but then they went away. I mean, some of them were accountants. You know, they did basic accounting and decided, okay, well, I want to move into a different field. And they've chosen Azure and they've moved into that field, and they've got a job. In some cases, all of the ladies that have got jobs in Azure are earning 3 times more than what they were getting in their previous job. Some cases, it's even 5 times more. And like I say, at the end of the day, ladies, I really do want you to succeed. I want you to get into technology, because technology is the future, whether we like it or not. And companies are adopting the cloud quicker than you can say 1, 2, 3. And having a cloud certification will give you leverage over the next person that's going for the interview, because they may not have a cloud certification. But even if they do, doing the training with CloudnLoud, doing the training with me, will give you the real world skills to say, well, hey, she's a real world engineer. She's not just a paper engineer. Yep, she's passed her AZ 900 fundamentals or her AZ administration course. She knows how to do A, B, and C comfortably. And in some cases, you'll be able to teach your colleague next to you, or more importantly, you may be able to help other ladies grow and expand as well. And I do encourage you to reach out and get hold of people at CloudnLoud. Get hold of me on LinkedIn. Have a look at what's going on in the industry. Like I said, there's so many women that support women in IT, but more importantly, there's so many men out there as well that want you as a lady to succeed and grow. And like I say, my Azure course, when I started it, I was hoping for a few people. And in a space of a year, over 150 ladies have got into IT and have found jobs. In the space of the year, if I count the men and ladies that I've worked with, over 280 of them have found jobs in IT. And we're talking about people that have finished school. We're talking about people that have got no qualifications at all, that have gone into the industry. So don't compare yourself to the next person, because everybody's different. Everybody brings something different to the table. Focus on you. Shut out everything else, because you don't need to worry about what the next person's doing. Focus on where you want to go, and you'll be surprised how quickly you'll get from A to Z if you work with the right people to get there. And again, like I say, don't be concerned where you think, oh, I don't have the money, I can't do this, it's expensive. How am I going to afford to pay for this? There's so much free training, so many resources out there to get you started in the industry. And again, like I say, ladies, you can do this. The ladies I've taught is absolutely proof. The fact that my next classes are all fully booked. And again, all my Azure training that I do, I don't charge anything for it. It's absolutely free. The only thing it's going to cost you is your time. So whether you decide to do training with me or anybody else, have a look around and see what training there is. Some of the organizations like LinkedIn and Pluralsight and A Cloud Guru now and again offer free training as well. So the resources are there. The only thing that's going to cost you is your time. Setting time aside to get from A to B is what you need to do. And again, we can help you get from A to B, and then you'll be able to go from B to Z on your own with the confidence, and you'll be able to succeed and grow. And, at the end of the day, you'll be able to help someone else. And that's my goal, is get as many women into IT and help those ladies mentor other ladies and help those other ladies get into the industry as well. And again, like I say, ladies, if you've got any questions, let me know. I'm here to help. Let CloudnLoud know. They are there to help as well. So together we can at least try to help you get from A to B. I want to thank you as well for your time, because I know you're all busy. I know you have a lot going on. So hopefully this will give you a better understanding of why I want to help women in IT, especially why I want to help women get into Azure, because like I said, most companies are running Microsoft technologies and they're moving to Azure because it's a Microsoft technology. Some of the companies I know, for argument's sake, that were with Amazon have actually moved out of Amazon and gone into Azure, because at that time when cloud was out in the market, Amazon was the dominant player. But that's going to change. Microsoft are gaining ground very, very quickly. The Microsoft certifications and training is absolutely phenomenal, but not just the Microsoft training, the training that's out there that's offered by various institutions is also phenomenal. So at the end of the day, like I say, it's a decision that you need to make. And if you, as a lady, want to get into IT, you've come to the right place. So again, I'd like to thank you. And if you've got any questions, I'm willing to take any questions from anybody. So you just let me know. So you ladies have a fantastic evening, and I look forward to seeing you probably in the next podcast. Hopefully the next podcast we can do can be a live course where we can get our hands dirty and explore Azure. Again, it all depends. So again, touch base with me on LinkedIn. I'm there to help you. And you ladies have a great evening, and thank you for your time.